history, the most lopsided win in Mets history, coming just 16 days after the most lopsided loss in Mets history. So it has truly been an historic, if not particularly successful season for the New York Mets. I'm Gary. This is Keith. We're happy to be with you for Game 2 of the doubleheader. And who knows what we might see after the Mets have scored 40 runs in their last 2 games, the most they've ever scored in consecutive games in Mets history.
Well, I witnessed them live. You've only witnessed one live, Gary. And boy, what a barrage the Mets have put on, and they've just beat up on everybody. The Orioles last night, and of course tonight, the record-breaking runs. We were here watching. Met fans in the ballpark were loving it.
How about Jose Bautista came in the game when Brandon Nimmo got hit on the index finger. Fortunately, no break, and Brandon can pinch run on the nightcap. Comes off the bench and drives in 7 runs. The first big leaguer to drive in 7 runs in a game he didn't start in 40 years since John Mayberry did it in 1978.
Well, it's whenever you have these slugfests, and I guess it was a one-sided slugfest, when you bring in everyday players to come in and throw and they finish the game up, the Mets kind of clean the clock of those guys. These kind of things happen, but Bautista, you know, it's unfortunate that Nimmo got hurt. Like Gary said, no break. He takes advantage of that, but has and has a huge afternoon, and it was hot here this afternoon. And
it's almost it's easy to forget now how the game started. First pitch of the game from Ranger Suarez, and Ahmed Rosario hit it dead center field halfway up the batting eye. Second time this week he's led off a game with a home run.
Well, he's swinging the bat well, and it's in that leadoff spot, and we're going to show you the home run right here. First pitch of the ball game, dead center, and this was a bomb. And you can see where it lands up that was a poke right there, and that got the Mets rolling. This game was seesaw for the first 3-4 innings, and then the Mets just blew it out.
Now let's remember that the Phillies are in contention for a postseason berth. They started the day in second place in the East. They're now 2.5 behind the Braves, and they started the day in the second wild card spot. They come off an emotional series against the Red Sox that they split. They won the game last night. They used 8 pitchers to find their way to a split of their series with the Red Sox, and then they played maybe their worst game of the season this afternoon.
Well, they came in with the second most errors in the National League as a team, 88 coming into the game. They made 4, lots of unearned runs. If you're going to lose a ball game like this after you've taxed your bullpen the prior night and against that in that series against the Red Sox, well, it's best that you get blown out and you can bring in your position players and save your bullpen, because they needed some saving.
Mets scored 11 unearned runs in that first game. Maikel Franco had 2 of those 4 errors.
Well, he right here just boots a ground ball. It happens. I mean, this just fell apart. Here's the throw down the line. Never should have thrown that ball. And then this, he should have thrown to third. The catcher, Alfaro, should have thrown to third base. And this one, and a ricochet off the glove into your chin for Rhys Hoskins. It was one of those days for the Phillies.
And now we start fresh, and we'll see what the Mets can do for an encore after 40 runs in their last 2 games. Rosario, who had 4 hits in the opener today, including that leadoff home run, will stay in that leadoff spot. Bautista, after driving in 7 runs coming off the bench in Game 1, will start Game 2. Jack Reinheimer, his first start as a Met, made his debut last night in Baltimore, got a hit, made a fine defensive play at third base. Mets with 24 runs and 25 hits in the opener, and now Zach Eflin, back from a brief stint in the minor leagues, will try and hold them down in Game 2.
Well, he's another one of these young pitchers. He's 24 years of age, and for some reason, even back when I played, the Phillies always had these giants on the mound. 6'6", 215 pounds, 8-4 record over 16 starts. Doesn't walk anybody. 19 walks in 2/3. And the Jeep starting infield, Wilson Ramos. Remember him? He was a Met killer with the Nationals, went to Tampa, now back here. I thought a great pickup for the Phillies. They needed offense. This man can hit. He's got to stay healthy. He's behind the plate. Carlos Santana at first base, the old Cleveland Indian, first year here in Philadelphia. And the outfield, there's Rhys Hoskins, the fan favorite right here, having a good year for the Phillies. Roman Quinn, only his 4th start in center field. And how about that?
The Phillies going with the retro uniforms for both games of the doubleheader, and that surprised me. I figured after that first game they would burn these uniforms and go with a different combination for game 2.
What's it called? Throwback Thursday here, and I'm looking for Mike Schmidt, Greg Luzinski, and Steve Carlton.
Yeah, you really expect Lefty to show up wearing number 32. Eflin's first pitch of the night to Ahmed Rosario. He drives the first pitch of this game to left field. It's over the head of Hoskins, and Rosario with a stinging extra base hit to lead off both games of the doubleheader. Hit the first pitch over the fence in game 1. He drives a double to start this one, and the Mets are off and moving again.
Well, first ball, fastball hitting, but how many times they got to do this for the Phillies to get smart here? But he turns on that inside fastball. Eflin not real overpowering. That just got over the head of Hoskins right there.
That's 8 hits now in his last 4 games. So Rosario aboard to start this one. And here's Jeff McNeil, who didn't start game 1, had a pinch hitting assignment and grounded out. He's one of the few Mets who was unable to cash in on the Phillies' largesse in game 1. McNeil, 66 big league at bats, sitting at .258. And Eflin misses away for ball 1. Zach Eflin got off to a great start this year for the Phillies. He's been struggling lately, and this week he was the source of some controversy as the Phillies sent him to the minor leagues. They optioned him down with the intention of bringing him back for this start. He didn't miss a start. That's driven out to left field. That'll chase Hoskins back in the gap, and he can't get it. Rosario held up. He'll go to third. He'll have to stop there. Back-to-back doubles to start the game. And Hoskins' troubles in left field continue as he misjudged that ball, and McNeil has a double.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy. Hoskins really a first baseman. And boy, this compounds from the first game where he missed the fly ball. That ball's got to be caught right there. Rosario halfway. He gets caught going back and forth. There's no need to go back and forth. Get halfway, plant. When the ball drops, you score easily. He's got to score in that ball.
So the Mets instantly with second and third and nobody out. Here's Michael Conforto, 3 for 7 in the opener, including his 17th home run of the year. And he drills one down the line, and that'll bring in a pair. Rosario is in, McNeil right behind him. Conforto pulls in at second base with the Mets' third straight double to begin the game. And the Mets are out to an instant 2-0 lead.
Well, Conforto, who has just been so inconsistent, has really started swinging the bat well. He began yesterday swinging the bat great. Had a tough game yesterday. Got a hit. Swung the bat good the last 2 at bats. But here in this today, he's really looking good, like the old Michael Conforto. He needs to be consistent with this. This is a breaking ball right on it.
Mets had 11 extra base hits in the opener. They have 3 in the course of the first 4 pitches from Eflin, and now Flores pops one up, and Franco comes in from third to squeeze it for the first out of the game.
Well, it looks like the Philly fans are saying, no, not another one of these.
Attendance has been on the increase here in Philadelphia with the success that the Phillies have had unexpectedly. When the Phillies won last night, it was their 66th win of the year, which is the number of wins that the Phillies won last year for the entire season. Here's Austin Jackson, and he takes a strike. Jackson 3 for 7 in the opener with a pair of doubles. Now hitting .393 through his first 18 games as a Met. And Jackson drives one out to right center. Bad angle taken, but Williams is able to measure it and make the grab for the second out. Williams started back on that ball, then had to take a sharp turn to grab the fly ball by Jackson for the second out. So two-way, and now Bautista. Bautista didn't start game 1, but when Brandon Nimmo was hit on the hand as he grounded out to end the third inning, Nimmo suffered a bruised index finger. He had x-rays. They proved to be negative, and he is available to pinch run, they say, in the nightcap. Bautista came off the bench and drove in 7 runs. No Met had ever done that before. In fact, he's only the 12th Met to drive in 7 or more runs in any game, and the first to do it coming off the bench.
So no one's driven in more than 7 as a Met? Or
off the bench.
Off the bench, gotcha.
The record for RBIs in a game for the Mets is 9. That was Carlos Delgado at Yankee Stadium.
That's right. I remember that game, yes.
In fact, the previous record for the Mets driving in runs in a game that he didn't start was 4. And Bautista had 7.
The grand slam kind of eliminated put him at a tie in one swing.
And Eflin fires a fastball for a strike, and it's 2-1. We're talking about Zach Eflin. He got sent down this week. They brought him back today as the 26th man that you're eligible to bring up for a doubleheader. Normally you have to wait 10 days to bring a player back, but if he's the 26th man, you don't. So it was some severe roster manipulation on the part of the Phillies, and it caused some hard feelings in the Phillies clubhouse. You know, relief pitchers now who have options are kind of used to this,
yes.
right? Being sent down, being brought back. Jacob Rame, for instance, up for the 7th time today. He was the Mets' 26th man. But here's Eflin, who's been their number 3 starter all year, and he got sent to the minor leagues, and it cost him some big league service time and money, and they kind of had to hash things out as Bautista draws a walk. Gabe Kapler had breakfast with Eflin earlier this week, and they talked about it. And Eflin said he wasn't so much concerned about the service time and the money. It was more, you know, here are the Phillies in the middle of a pennant race, and he wanted to be with his teammates, and it was kind of hard to understand.
Well, I've been here all year, even though he didn't have his first start until May 1st. He started out in AAA, had 4 starts there in April. But, you know, you're part of it for 3 months, 3.5 months, and you get sent down.
Here's Devin Mesoraco. Kevin Plawecki had a great afternoon in the first game. Plawecki's been getting the bulk of the playing time lately, and Kevin, who had a grand slam yesterday in Baltimore, was on base 6 times in the opener, 4 for 4, double, triple, 3 RBIs. And now Mesoraco catching the nightcap. Conforto at second, Bautista at first with 2 out. And Mesoraco clocks one deep but foul. Where's that going to go? Oh, in the upper deck. I didn't see too many foul balls hit up there. I don't think that guy was expecting a souvenir today.
I was looking in the lower tank. I lost it.
Just follow me, Keith.
Well, I did. I immediately switched gears on your
lead
word.
You to the right place.
Good, welcome back.
Nice to be here. Thanks to Wade for filling in the last couple of days. Mesoraco takes a hack at a curveball, and it's 1-2.
You wouldn't have liked the GH, Gary. I promise you.
I'm sorry?
You wouldn't have liked the DH. I promise you.
Well.
Breaking ball right here, which Mesoraco chases. That's been his issue. He likes that ball middle in.
That's driven out to right, and Williams back on the warning track to get it. That retires the side, but the Mets cash a couple on 3 straight doubles from Rosario, McNeil, and Conforto. That hands Steven Matz a 2-0 lead. who made his Phillies debut last night and had 3 extra base hits, gets his second appearance since coming over from Tampa Bay. Carlos Santana, who sat in the opener, back in game 2, and Steven Matz pitching for the first time in 16 days.
July 31st, and it was a 2/3 in Washington, and he really got racky-tacked. 8 hits, 7 earned runs, elbow tightness.
That ended up being the most lopsided loss in Mets history, 25-4. Cesar Hernandez bluffs a bunt and takes ball 1. So Matz started the most lopsided loss in Mets history, and 16 days later pitches right after the Mets post the most lopsided win in team history.
It's almost, you want to look and see if it's Friday. It's not Friday, and it's a full moon. It's all this weird stuff happening.
Well, let me give you this. So the Mets gave up 25 against the Nats in that game on July 31st and scored 24 this afternoon. The last time a team scored 24 in a game and gave up 24 in a game in the same season, 1894.
Really?
4 different teams did it that year.
I thought it was the dead ball era.
Oh, it's 124 years ago, Keith, and we've been able to witness that happen in the last 3 weeks. Startling.
It is. I must say, I saw bits and pieces of it. I didn't see the whole thing. I was kind of wandering around the ballpark here.
Mets scored their last 9 runs over the last 3 innings against 2 Phillies position players. Roman Quinn and Scott Kingery worked the last 3 innings on the mound for the Phils. Hernandez lines one over short, and he's got a leadoff hit. So Hernandez, who was 0 for 4 in the opener, picks up a leadoff single.
Well, this is a Phillies team that we even mentioned earlier in the Phillies broadcasters. Said back in April, they're the team that needed some offense. They're 14th in average, 11th in runs coming in, 6th in home runs. They strike out a lot.
Well, their pitching has been magnificent, today's first game notwithstanding. But this guy's going to help with both helping the pitchers and providing some offense. Wilson Ramos acquired at the trading deadline. He was out with a hamstring injury. Of course, the Mets know him from his days as a Nat, and he has been a Met killer. Those were his career numbers against New York.
He can hit.
3 extra base hits, 3 RBIs last night in his Phillies debut, including a triple. You don't really associate the Buffalo with triples.
Well, what I've noticed from him and my remembrance of him, which are right in front of me, because he's such a Met killer, is that he really drives the ball to the opposite gap.
That's went low and in with a curveball, and it's 1-1. Well, Steven Matz has given up more stolen bases than any pitcher in the majors, which is remarkable that a left-hander would lead the majors in stolen bases allowed. Hernandez 14 steals and 17 tries this year, but he's not getting much of a lead as Matz misses high, 2-1.
Well, he fouled off a ball off his foot, his toe, and it kind of affected his batting, so maybe he slowed it down a little bit.
I mean, he's barely getting away from the bag.
Yep, that is not an aggressive lead, Gary.
Ramos chases the off-speed pitch down. It's 2-2.
All of a sudden, Matz coming out of the chute throwing a pretty good curveball. There's that old, what'd you call that? Maroon color, Gary?
It's a different red than the one they sport these days. But it's the powder blue that really stands out. Of course, powder blue uniforms became the rage in the 70s and 80s. You guys had them with the Cardinals.
Yeah, I liked them. I loved them on the road.
Cubs had them. Kansas City.
Braves
had them.
And Montreal. There you go. Mike Smith's in the building, by the way. Ran into Mike.
Is he wearing the retro uniform?
No, he was in cities.
Ramos strikes out on the changeup, and Matz has his first out.
Oh, pretty quick work right there. Kind of overmatched Ramos here.
So 1 out and 1 on. The plan is for Matz to throw somewhere in the neighborhood of 75 to 80 pitches tonight, as Nicky Callaway noted before the game, not only has Matz not pitched in a big league game in 16 days, it's been more than 3 weeks since he threw more than 50 pitches in a game. So you need to work him back into a full pitch count, coming back from that flexor pronator tendon strain that he suffered. Kept him on the DL. And he thought he was only going to miss 1 start. It really wound up being closer to 3. Corey Oswalt started the first game today. He had taken Matz's spot in the rotation and kind of went unnoticed with the Mets' largesse on offense today. Oswalt gave up 4 solo home runs and won the game by 20 runs.
Good for him. You need those every now and again, don't you?
Jake Brown wants to know, can I have some of those? Although the Mets have scored runs for Jake in his last 2 starts. Late swing foul, and it's 1-2 to Williams.
And the Lexus Met defensive infield, Mesoraco behind the plate. On the second game of this doubleheader, Jack Reinheimer gets his first start as a New York Met at third base. And in the outfield, Bautista gets rewarded for his 7 ribeye steaks and gets a start out there in right field.
It's nice to see Brandon Nimmo in the Mets dugout. Don't know if he can grip a bat, but he can certainly pinch run in game 2. 2-2 to Williams. When he got hit, you know, the ball rolled off his finger and his bat out to third base, and he went down in a heap in the batter's box. You feared that it was something much more severe, because, you know, for Brandon not to run to first base, you figured it was a catastrophe.
Right, exactly. Because he is a hustler, and that just, he had 2 strikes on him too. He had to hang in there, and he got his bottom hand, a top hand, excuse me, left hand,
left index finger,
and that hurts. And he's very fortunate there was no break or fracture.
2-2 to Williams, and that just misses away. Full count with Rhys Hoskins waiting on deck. Matz wanted that last call from Mark Ripperger. Steven has very rarely faced the Phillies in his career. In fact, this is only his 3rd career start against Philadelphia, which is weird. That's lined over short. Rosario can't get it. It's a base hit for Williams. Hernandez pulls in at second, and the Phillies have 2 men on.
Just out of the reach of Rosario. And this is a real muggy night.
So 2 on and 1 out, and now Rhys Hoskins, who had one of those 4 home runs against Oswalt in the opener. And it went a long way out to left center, up above the 409 mark. 24th of the year for Hoskins. And he goes after a first pitch changeup, 0-1.
Well, Matt's coming out with his secondary pitches. He's got a good breaking ball early and a good changeup.
Ball and a strike to Hoskins, who last year played 50 games in the big leagues, hit 18 home runs after suffering through an 0 for 14 to begin his career that we got to witness.
Against the Mets.
Hoskins carves one foul, and it's 1-2.
I remember that series here. He had his parents here in the ballpark. His girlfriend or fiance, I'm not sure which, and it was painful to watch the parents and his girlfriend. They were like, they were pleading for a base hit.
They were worried he was never going to get a hit, and then he went on an historic rookie tear. Last year, he hit a home run every 9.4 at bats.
Yep,
it was a stunning beginning to his career. Doesn't quite match that home run pace this year, but he's got 24 in just over 400 at bats. Hernandez at second, Williams at first with one out, and Matz misses high with a changeup, and it's 2-2. Carlos Santana, the switch hitting first baseman, waiting on deck. So Matz has thrown at least 5 pitches to each hitter he's faced so far. This is a Phillies team that sees a lot of pitches. They're 4th in the National League in drawing walks.
Kind of interesting. They strike out a lot and they walk a lot.
In the air, deep left field, down the line toward the pole. It hooks and hits the pole. A 3-run homer for Rhys Hoskins, and the Phillies lead at 3-2. Number 25 for Hoskins. And just like that, the Phillies go in front.
I think it was a high changeup. High and out over the plate. That was a bomb. Yep, it is a changeup, and it's high, and it's down the pipe, and there it goes.
It's the second high changeup that Matz threw during that at bat, and that clanked high off the pole. Now Carlos Santana takes a strike. So a rude welcome back for Steven Matz. 2 singles and a 3-run homer, and he finds himself behind. Santana signed as a free agent in the offseason by the Phillies. 3 years, $60 million. Now he's seen some of his playing time get usurped with the trade for Justin Bour. Santana has not hit for a high average, but as he always does, he's drawn a ton of walks, so he still has the high on base percentage. But it's not been a great year for Santana by any means. And Bour started the last 2 games, last night against the Red Sox and the first game of the doubleheader today.
Well, good time to go out and talk with Matz. I think he looked a little frustrated after that pitch.
Well, first innings have not been Steven's best. 22nd start this year. He's now given up 22 first inning runs. Mets have been able to save their bullpen the last couple of days. They didn't use Lugo or Gazelman last night, nor in the first game today. There's a call strike to Santana, 3-2. Corey Oswalt was able to go 6 in the opener today. Blevins and Rame finished up. Blevins even got his first career hit.
I saw that.
Fly ball, shallow center, and in comes Jackson to get it. And Santana retired, 2 out. I mean, that was, I mean, he got it off position player, but it still counts. And
was a lefty, right? He got it off of?
got it off Roman Quinn, right?
Okay.
No, it was off Scott Kingery.
Right. Has to be a right-hander.
Kingery was throwing
Lollipops
balls up there so slowly that the radar gun could not register them. They looked like they were about 45 miles an hour.
Like a Fosh ball. Who threw the Fosh ball? Remember that, Gary?
Steve Hamilton?
I believe so.
Lined the other way by Franco, but right at Bautista. And that ends the inning. 3-run homer for Rhys Hoskins puts the Phillies in front, 3-2 after 1. Second inning, Mets down a run. Jack Reinheimer leads off against Zach Eflin. Reinheimer's first start as a Met, his second start in the big league. Started one game for Arizona last year. And he takes a breaking ball for a strike from Eflin. Reinheimer last night made his Mets debut. He pinch ran. He got a hit. He made a diving play at third base. Welcome to the club.
You were watching.
Of course I was. Santana bobbles, but gets to the bag in time to retire Reinheimer. One away.
Boy, oh boy, like box it and send me a dozen. These Phillies, they're having a hard time with the gloves.
Phillies came into the day having made the second most errors in the National League. They made 4 in the opener and nearly another one here.
Well, the 4 in the opener gives them obviously a 92 on the year.
Why is it obvious?
You know, 88 plus 4 here is 92.
Who said they had 88? No, you are correct. They now have 92. I just didn't know that the whole world knew that. But now they do. Steven Matz 3 for 34 at the plate this year.
And
Steven coming off a 30-pitch first inning.
That 92 puts them in a tie for most with St. Louis of all organizations.
How about the Cardinals? They have really hit their stride.
Yes, they have.
8 straight wins going to their game with Washington tonight. It's a floater into shallow left center, and in comes Quinn to get it. 2 out. Time for Built for Baseball, brought to you by T-Mobile. Speaking of the Cardinals streaking and struggling, those two teams going head-to-head again tonight after the Cardinals got 6 scoreless innings from Austin Gombra last night to beat the Nats. Nats are up 2-1 tonight in the 4th inning, but the Nats are now under 500.
Yes, they are.
9 games out of first place, 7 games out of the wild card, and their hopes are fading by the day. Here's Ahmed Rosario. Here's that score. Got a Roark on the mound for the Nats tonight. Zach Eflin gave up 3 straight doubles to start the night, now pitching with the lead. Eflin just 24 years old, really has hit his stride this year. First 2 years were injury plagued. He had knee issues in his rookie year in 16. He had surgery on both knees. That carried into 17. Then he had shoulder problems and struggled last year. Slowly hit down to third. Franco on the charge with Rosario running, gets him by a stride to retire the side. So Eflin rebounds with a 1-2-3 inning. Phillies lead at 3-2 in the second. Scott Frazier and Michael Conforto and the rest of the Mets battled the Phillies in the MLB Little League Classic presented by Geico at historic Bowman Field in Williamsport, Pennsylvania. Catch all the action Sunday at 7 on ESPN. Scott Kingery, who pitched a little bit in the first game, takes a swing and a miss, playing shortstop in the nightcap.
If you want to call it that.
Well, he threw it from the pitching rubber to home plate, so that would be pitching. He threw slower than any major league pitcher I think I've ever seen.
I think he threw more strikes than the starter, that's for sure.
Back in 2000, I think it was, Derek Bell pitched in a game for the Mets in San Diego, and he was throwing in the low 60s, and he looked like he was throwing gas compared to what Kingery was slopping up there in game 1 today. I mean, again, it was so slow that the radar gun could not register it. I thought perhaps he was throwing a knuckleball, but then we saw that he was spinning it. It just wasn't getting there very fast. It was amazing he was getting it there on the fly. He hits one in the air to deep left field. That's got enough fly on it to get to the stands. And Scott Kingery has hit his 6th home run of the year. And the Phillies now lead 4-2. So he can hit it harder than he pitches it. Phillies hit 4 home runs in the opener and lost by 20 runs. They've hit 2 home runs in the first 2 innings in the nightcap and lead 4-2.
Another off-speed pitch.
Now Zach Eflin hitting 8th in the order, 4 for 30 this year, including a home run.
I see him reach for it. It was an off-speed, another changeup. It's 2 home runs off the cambio.
And now a strikeout on the curveball, and that's the first out of the inning.
There's your contact, and you can see him let go with one hand. Off-speed pitch up in the strike zone, and again, too much over the middle.
Kingery has seen his playing time decrease since the Phillies acquired Asdrubal Cabrera, who's been playing most of the shortstop lately. Cabrera played the opener today. Kingery getting the start in the nightcap. Here's Roman Quinn, the other Philly position player who pitched. Quinn gave up 7 runs in an inning and 2/3, including a Michael Conforto home run, his first career pitching assignment. Just the 5th game he started since his call-up. We saw Quinn with the Phillies last year. And he fouls back a fastball, and it's 2-1.
Well, it's going to be up and down the middle. Oh, boy, right down the middle. You're playing darts. That's a double bull.
Is that like the middle? Double bull?
There's 2 rings,
concentric circles,
right? So the one inside's a double bull, counts for 2. You gotta hit 3 bulls to get out if you're playing the one way.
I have no idea what you're talking about, but Matz fields the slow grounder and then throws it down the line. And Quinn is safe at first. Like Matz had enough time to get him.
We'll see how they rule that. That could be a home book base hit.
No, they're going to score it in error, as well it should be. There's Asdrubal. Took a 1 for 4 in the first game today.
Yeah, he's clearly out on a good throw.
It's a play that has troubled Matz a couple of times this year. So 1-out base runner for the Phillies. Now back to the top of the batting order, and Cesar Hernandez, who led off the first inning with a base hit. Quinn, a speedy runner at first, 2 steals and 4 tries since his recall.
Oh, their feet. Watch their feet. They get a little tangled here.
Stepped right on Wilmer's toe.
Yep. Oh, there's Wilmer.
And Quinn was fortunate he didn't turn an ankle there. Wilmer has gotten stepped on more than once at first base. What's the key as a first baseman to making sure you don't get stepped?
You stay on the sides of the bag, Gare. On the faces of the bag, not the top.
Rosario unable to make the connection, and Quinn down to second base.
It's interesting you brought that up, Gare, because I was always worried. Not always worried, but sometimes I just got away from Rosario.
Is he crossed up?
I don't know. It's maybe strange. Maybe Matz put a little something extra on that ball and fooled him.
They're going to call it a pass ball. I think that's proper.
Every once in a while in a close play, when I took a stretch and I had my foot, I mean, your ankle's exposed. You're kind of going, I hope this guy doesn't step on my ankle because he'd break it.
But if you're on the side of the bag as you're supposed to be and extended, you're not really a target, are you?
Shouldn't be. But still,
goes in the wrong
be some knucklehead take you out and ruin your career.
Quinn stealing third. Mesoraco's throw on a hop. He overslid, but he gets back safely. Stolen base for Quinn is third of the year.
Oh, they got to pay attention to the runners.
Mets are going to put a hold on and see if perhaps they want to challenge this call.
If you do the pop-up slide, you get there faster, and you don't come off the bag.
Well, he overslides, but did that foot come off the bag?
We'll see.
Apparently not.
Nice pickup by Reinheimer. Okay, there's his hand. He's in.
The foot stayed.
I don't think
anchored.
They can overturn that.
So no challenge. Infield comes in now, and the pitch misses high to Hernandez. 3-1. So an error, a pass ball, and a stolen base put Quinn at third with one out. 3-1 to Hernandez with Wilson Ramos on deck. And that's too high. And there's the first walk of the night for Matz.
Watch the foot come in. Yep, he's fine. He stayed on.
And just like one spike left on the bat.
Matz looks like he's ready to blow up here.
Question is he mad at the umpire, mad at himself, or feeling some ill effect from the injury that put him on the DL?
Can't be mad at the umpire.
He gets pretty steamed at himself, and that's something he's really worked on with Dave Allen and Mickey Callaway, trying to find a way to calm himself when he gets into these situations. So now Ramos with first and third and one out. Matz struck him out on a changeup his first time up. And starts him off with a curveball fouled off. 0-1. Matz can get Ramos to hit the ball on the ground. He's certainly a double play candidate. Fastball in tied 1-1. Ramos going to be a free agent at the end of the year. And in a time when catching is at a premium, he should carry a hefty price tag. And he lines one the other way, and it's driving a run. So Quinn comes in to score after the Mets helped him around the bases. Ramos with his fourth RBI in 2 games for the Phillies, and it's 5-2 Philadelphia.
Well, he got him with the curveball the first time up, and then the changeups. In a changeup to strike him out. Here he hangs one. Ramos was going that way all the way. He can hit. He is a fine hitter.
Well, with runners in scoring position, Matz had been in a great groove until recently. His last 3 starts, he pitched to a 12.34 ERA, and those numbers at the bottom, 10 for 17 with runners in scoring position, having much to do with that. This one was an unearned run after Matz's own error. Still only one out. Ground ball right near the bag. Rosario, nice stop, and he'll just get the one out, tagging Ramos. McNeil was too far away to get to the bag, and so that's the second out on a 6 unassisted fielder's choice.
Nice play by Ramos here. I mean, not Ramos. I'm sorry, Rosario. And doesn't. I mean, you're free to take Rosario out there, but didn't happen. Just saying.
So 2 out now. Rhys Hoskins, who hit one off the left field foul pole for a 3-run homer his first time up. So by all rights, this inning should be over. The Mets scored 11 unearned runs in the first game. Phillies have an unearned run home in this inning and now looking for some more. These games get bigger and bigger for Philadelphia as they move through this most unexpected pennant race. They were in a rebuilding mode. Figured that next year would be the year that they would turn the corner, but the corner has arrived quicker than expected. 2-0 to Hoskins. Runner goes, and now stopping between first and second. Williams trying to draw a throw. Mets get him in the rundown. Still looking home, and now breaking for the plate. The throw, and Hernandez scores. Well, that worked exactly the way the Phillies wanted it to. Williams was begging for the Mets to get him in a rundown. The Mets did. And by the time Flores threw home on Williams' break for the plate, it was too late. And it's 6-2 Philadelphia.
Well, this was a play when I was a young first baseman, really bothered me. And I finally figured it out. You've got to close here, Wilmer. Close down. That's it. It's just, you can help out the shortstop or second baseman who's running back towards you.
I think he's out, by the way. I don't think he ever touched home plate, and I think Mesoraco tagged him. Never touched home.
Oh, did Mesoraco tag him right there?
I believe he did. I believe he got him on the helmet, if I'm not mistaken, but I don't think Hernandez ever touched home plate. And the umpires are going to gather first to talk about this amongst themselves. Let's see.
Well, but how can anybody, any of the other 3 umpires, know that the tag was? Did he get him?
No, he missed him.
Missed him.
Or unless he...
Now, did he come back and touch home?
That's a good question.
If he didn't
tag him and he didn't touch home plate, then what happens?
Well, they're going to
go. If he walked to the dugout without touching home, then he's out.
Yes.
So let's watch what happens afterward. If we
did he touch it? Oh,
well, maybe he got the back tip.
Maybe he got the point.
I did not think on the first replay that he did, and he did not go back and touch home plate afterward. He ran to the dugout. So if he didn't touch home plate, he's going to be out for having abandoned his effort. Let's see.
Quick.
Oh,
okay.
They're going to say he touched it.
So a poorly executed defensive rundown by the Mets, and perfectly executed stolen base by the Phillies. And there, I guess they're saying right there, Gary.
I don't know. I mean, that's pretty close. But the home plate umpire, Mike Ripperger, called him safe. And so it goes in the books as a double steal. Williams steals second. Hernandez steals home to make it 6-2. And now Hoskins is hit by the pitch. So this nightmarish inning continues for Steven Matz. Home run, throwing error, passed ball, stolen base, walk, single, double steal, and now a hit batsman as he got Hoskins on the foot. There's no action as yet in the Mets bullpen, but that's about to change. Going to get somebody going now. Matz was going to be limited to 75 or 80 pitches anyway, and here we are. He's at 55 in the second inning, and nothing is going right for him as Paul Sewald gets up in the Mets bullpen. So now Williams at second, Hoskins at first. Carlos Santana takes inside, ball 1. Santana fly to center his first time up. The Phillies have scored 3 runs in each of the first 2 innings. The runs have flowed like water in these games the last few days. Remember when nobody was scoring in these Mets games earlier this season? Mets couldn't score. The opposition couldn't score. It was scoreless going to the 6th inning every day. Feels as though a dam is broken. Santana drives one out to left center, but Austin Jackson gets over to get it. And that retires the side, but the Phillies put up another 3 spot. The last 2 were unearned. 6-2 Phillies after 2. Last 2 starts for Steven Matz. He got knocked out in the first inning in Washington, went on the DL, returned tonight, and nothing has gone right over the first 2 innings. Not his fielding, not his ability to stop the running game. And that pat on the back may mean that Steven's done after 2 innings. We'll wait and see.
I think you're correct.
Meanwhile, Jeff McNeil leads off in the 3rd against Zach Eflin, who now has a 4-run lead. McNeil drove a double to left field that Rhys Hoskins allowed to go over his head. That was in the opening inning. He slashes one foul, and it's 1-1. It was so nice to see Jeff McNeil called upon to execute a hit and run last night.
Yes.
And delivering it perfectly.
First inning. And Nimmo got it started. That was the beginning of Nimmo's big night.
I was talking to Mickey Callaway about the Mets offense these last few days as Kingery throws out McNeil for the first out. And part of it is that you've got a couple of guys in McNeil and Austin Jackson who naturally are guys who are going to spray it around, so you can play hit and run with people like that. But I think it's also rubbing off on Nimmo and Conforto to a certain extent. These guys are using the whole field recently more than they have all season.
I think more so Nimmo, of course. Yeah, well, you're right. Conforto as well. You're absolutely right. But Nimmo just had a splendid hitting after a night last night. Just was a clinic. Loved it.
Conforto at the opposite field home run at Yankee Stadium. First game today, Michael had 3 hits, including a home run. 2-run double his first time up today. Got the triangle going against him.
Well, that's a serious shift.
This one out to center field, and Quinn has it measured. 2 out. Time for tonight's Verizon trivia question. 2 pitchers have recorded 200 or more strikeouts with the Phillies against the Mets.
Well, one.
I mean,
come on.
Right. I think.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's an automatic.
Right. Who's the other one? With the Phillies against the Mets.
Bunning.
Schilling. Wilmer flies one out to left center, and another chance for Quinn at angling in. And that retires the side. 7 in a row retired by Zach Eflin. Go to the bottom of the third, 6-2 Philadelphia. Mets and Phillies are playing a 5-game series that will culminate with Sunday night's game in Williamsport, where the big leaguers will get to be up close and personal with the little guys. Mets and Phillies are not playing on the Little League field, playing on a full-size diamond, but close by where the Little League World Series is held.
That is they put a major complex there of baseball diamonds.
Paul Sewald will take over the pitching for the Mets as we go to the bottom of the third.
Paul's last outing in that in Baltimore, he got roughed up. 1 inning, 5 hits, 2 runs.
A home run to Tim Beckham that put that game away for Baltimore on Tuesday night. Mets finally got themselves a win against the Orioles last night after losing the first 3 to the team with the worst record in baseball. Franco grounds one down to Reinheimer. And he throws him out 1 away. Reinheimer is more a shortstop than a third baseman, but he has been known for his defensive prowess through his minor league career. And he has certainly looked comfortable on the few chances we've seen him handle so far.
Yeah, nice diving stab, as you mentioned earlier, in Baltimore last night. When that game was a blowout, big time, and guys like Reinheimer are glad to be in the game, get some action. They're going to be on the toes.
Here's Scott Kingery, who homered his first time up tonight against Matz. Kingery had been 0 for his previous 21. In fact, he had not had a hit since before the Phillies traded for Asdrubal Cabrera on July 27th. So they replaced him. He had not been producing. Finally gets a chance to get in there with Cabrera sitting the second game of the doubleheader, and he hits a home run. Cabrera hasn't been hitting much himself since coming over, but what's been interesting is that Asdrubal, who had not played shortstop for the Mets all year, has been playing shortstop regularly for the Phillies and doing just fine. Breaking ball hit foul, 1-2.
We've heard the same thing though when we heard that they were going to play Asdrubal at shortstop. We immediately thought about his range. He's getting on in years, and talked to the guys here in Philadelphia, and they kind of confirmed our suspicions that he doesn't really cover a lot of ground.
Well, he's going to catch everything you hit to him because he's got great hands, but he didn't have much range at second base this year, and certainly asked for more from your shortstop in that regard. But it's clear if you look at what the Phillies are doing right now, that they are more concerned about their offense than their defense.
Yes.
Tonight, Justin Bour getting some starts at first base. Cabrera playing short. Wilson Ramos is going to get more starts behind the plate, not the defensive catcher Jorge Alfaro is. So they're clearly going in that direction. Kingery down on strikes for the second out. And, you know, both of them have been concerns for the Phillies. Their pitching has been great. That's why they're where they are, why they're in playoff position. The starters have been marvelous, led by Aaron Nola and Jake Arrieta. Their bullpen's been really good, but their defense is subpar, and their offense has struggled to be consistent.
I think their defense is more than subpar. I think it's less.
So you don't think it's even de minimis?
92 errors. That's a lot of errors, Gary. Woo.
Zach Eflin struck out his first time up. And Sewell picks off the outside corner, 1-1.
Well, when they made those moves, the general manager, Matt Klentak, said, you know, we're just going to have to outscore people. He said that the defense, it's that same, you know, philosophy with the new younger GMs, that more emphasis on we'll outscore you, we'll out-homer you, and defense is not of the utmost importance.
Well, did we mention that the Phillies out-homered the Mets in Game 1 today and lost by 20 runs?
Oh yeah, but that went against the odds.
1-2-3 inning for Paul Sewell to the bottom of the third. We go to the fourth, 6-2 Philadelphia.
Every now and again there's an upset.
Matchups the next two nights. Noah Syndergaard against Aaron Nola tomorrow. Jacob deGrom and Jake Arrieta, maybe with shadows, with a 4 o'clock start on Saturday. And then the game in Williamsport Sunday night. Jason Vargas and Nick Pivetta. Zach Eflin working with a 4-run lead as we start the fourth inning. Eflin gave up 3 straight doubles and 2 runs to start the game, but hasn't allowed another hit. Austin Jackson up for the second time, and he drives one down the left field line. He's got himself an extra base hit. And Austin Jackson cruises into second base with a leadoff double. Mets have 4 hits in this game. They've all been 2 base hits.
Fastball in, turns on it. Down and in.
Well, Jackson continues to put together a body of work for the Mets. He's had 62 at bats now as a Met, and he's hitting .397. So say Bautista, who walked his first time up in this game. So we mentioned that Bautista drove in 7 runs in the first game in a game he didn't start. Turns out that that ties a major league record. It had only been done twice before. Roy Sievers in 1961, John Mayberry in 1978, Jose Bautista in the first game of the doubleheader today. 7 RBIs in a game he didn't start. This was his grand slam in game 1.
Oh, hanger.
Came off Mark Ladder Jr., who did not fare well.
Roy Sievers did that in '61. Was he
61 Senators, right?
Yes. He played for the Phillies, didn't he, Roy, for a while? Am I mistaken?
To check that out. Roy Sievers played for the Phillies. You're right. Yep. 62, 63.
That's what I thought. And Cleveland also? No, I'm not mistaken.
Started out with the St. Louis Browns, then went to Washington as Bautista strikes out. Had his best years with the Senators, and he went to the White Sox, Phillies, and then back to the Senators again.
Okay.
He's a really good player.
Yes, he was.
318 lifetime home runs. At 42 in 1957, 114 RBIs, led the American League in both categories. Finished 3rd in the MVP balloting.
I had the pleasure of meeting him right here in Philadelphia.
Mesoraco lined out to right field his first time up. Jackson at second with 1 out after Eflin registered his first strikeout, getting Bautista. Eflin is striking out far more batters this year than he did in his first 2 big league seasons. He averaged just 4.7 strikeouts per 9 coming into this year, 8.5 this year, so a huge jump. But again, he had lots of physical problems in his first 2 years. His knees, his shoulder.
He's got big feet. Look at those gunboats.
Goes help him throw hard.
I think he's so tall. He needs those big feet.
The only thing that's really slowed Eflin down this year, he had a blister that put him on the DL the middle of July. But this is definitely a breakout season for him at age 24. First round pick by the Padres out of high school in 2012. Padres traded him to the Dodgers for Matt Kemp, and the next day the Dodgers traded him to the Phillies for Jimmy Rollins. That's how Eflin became a Philly. Two to Mesoraco, and the curveball bounced foul.
Not much of anything going on. Very compact. Big stride because he's got big, long legs. But really no drop and drive, no push off.
Big stride, but then he's 6'6", so you'd expect that.
Yes.
Jackson at second and 1 out. 2-2 coming, and Mesoraco takes it wide, 3-2. Jack Reinheimer hitting 8th in the order, waiting on deck. And that's wide, ball 4, and Mesoraco's on with Eflin's second walk of the night. And the Mets have 2 aboard with Reinheimer coming up. Now Paul Sewald for the moment is out on deck, but the Mets did have action going a moment ago in their bullpen. So we'll see how Mickey plays this. Might depend what Reinheimer does here.
Well, he didn't get his bullpen overworked in that first game. And I think they're gonna pinch hit.
Yeah, Drew Smith had been up. Now he's going back to work again. Reinheimer grounded out to first base his first at bat. guy who's never hit for much power in the minor leagues. A guy who'll spray the ball around. Say Reyes with a bat in his hands, perhaps to pinch hit. Seawald hoping to follow in Jerry Blevins' footsteps. By the way, Jerry said between games he's available to pinch hit in game 2. I think he was kidding. 0-2 to Reinhardt. Jack Reinhardt, 26 years old, came out of East Carolina University. There's the big hitting left-hander. Took him a long time, but he's finally registered that first major league hit. Congratulations, Jerry. Hale telling Jacob Rame all about it. Rame pitched 2 innings in the first game. That saved the rest of the bullpen. Played 1-2 to Reinhardt. Reinhardt originally drafted by Seattle 5th round 2013. And then made his major league debut with Arizona last year. Had 5 at-bats for the Diamondbacks. No hits. But he registered his first big league hit last night. And Reinheimer gets a hold of one and pulls it foul.
Got a little bit too anxious on a hanging slider.
For his first big league RBI. Got Carlton Fisk's number.
That's true.
His Chicago number, not his
right.
Boston number. I don't remember any Met wearing 72. It's a mistake. One-two coming. Double play ball. Kingery to Hernandez. And on to first, too late. Reinheimer beats it down the line. Looked like a tailor-made double play ball. But Reinheimer beats it out to keep the inning going.
Well, he hustled him down that line. He can run. Quick out of the box.
Correctly that Philip Evans wore 72 when he first came up with the Mets. And Carlos Torres also wore 72. Remember him?
No, I don't remember.
Pitcher? Yes. In fact, at this ballpark
Carlos,
that he
yes.
kicked the ball over to Murph and they
Carlos
for that 1-3-1 put out.
Yes, I remember Carlos.
Here's Reyes and knocked down by Ramos adequately to keep the runners where they are.
Nice block by Ramos. That ball came up.
Reyes started the first game, played second base, had 2 hits, including a double, drove in a run, and lo and behold, Jose's batting average over 200 for the year.
Off the interstate.
He was briefly above last night, then went below. 2 hits today, and now he lines one right to Santana for the 3rd out. So Eflin able to sidestep trouble in the 4th. With some help from Santana catching that bullet off the bat of Reyes. Middle of the 4th, 6-2 Phillies. A little change in routine for everybody with the doubleheader today. Only the Mets' third doubleheader of the season. Let's check in with Justine Ward, whose report tonight is brought to you by Pearl Vision. Justine?
Gary, well, you mentioned the change of pace, and doubleheaders are hectic for just about everybody here in this ballpark. I spoke with the Phillies ground crew, and they told me it was a mad dash in between games. I have a list of everything they had to do in between to get this field ready. They had to fix the bullpen mounds. They had to fix the infield. They had to re-chalk the lines. They had to rake the warning track, and they had to water the infield. And they had to do that all in about 25 minutes, and that normally takes them all morning long.
That's where they're paid the big bucks.
Yeah. Well, basically a doubleheader is a challenge for everybody in the ballpark.
Right.
Right. It's, you know, back when doubleheaders were routine, it was not as big a deal. But I think that, you know, over the last 30 years, the doubleheader has disappeared as a regular phenomenon. And so everybody kind of has to adjust themselves as Drew Smith comes in to pitch the bottom of the fourth.
And your doubleheaders now, your makeup doubleheaders, are usually day-night doubleheaders. Very rare now that you get a real old-fashioned doubleheader like today, where
it's twilight night doubleheader.
Exactly.
Roman Quinn lines one foul, and it's 2-2. Well, all is calm in the grounds crew office now. We discovered that office here a couple of years ago. It's a nice view of the field for the grounds crew head, who, you know, isn't necessarily using that view, but it's available to him.
So you would think that they have to, the most important part when you prepare the field is you have to fix the mound, make the mound brand spanking new, which they got to pound the dirt and home plate. And then you just drag the infield and give it a little water. And your next around 20 minutes, you get ready to go. All the grounds crew, whenever the teams get in the playoffs, postseason, they get they are voted a share. I certainly hope they still are, of a full share to be shared, to be split up amongst them evenly of the teams, whether they finna go to the World Series or not, and they are deserving of it because they're here every day, and they're keeping this field in great playing shape.
Nice reaction by Drew Smith to handle the ground ball by Quinn.
Especially on a year like today, this year, Gary, all the rain.
Drew Smith continues to create an impression. Worked last night in Baltimore, got the last 3 outs. Cesar Hernandez up for the 3rd time in this game, a single and a walk already, and as he tried to do early, trying to bunt his way on.
Boy, he's got some serious pine tar on that bat. Wow. Most infield hits and bunts hits of anybody in the National League the last 2 years. He's a nice player.
Really is. Has maintained that high on base percentage, right in the 370 range, really for the last 4 seasons now for the Phillies. He's become an indispensable piece of this Philly lineup at the top. Drew Smith picked up in the deal for Lucas Duda last summer. Originally drafted by the Tigers, acquired from the Rays. Dallas Baptist College. And I would say, you know, of all these young arms that the Mets have had a look at, Smith might be the one who's starting to break through a little bit.
Well, they didn't use him around a month ago. They kind of he was a forgotten man in that bullpen, and they kind of eased him back in, and he started performing, and he's gaining the confidence of Mickey Callaway.
Well, as with so many of these young, hard-throwing pitchers, and you know, we've seen Rame and Bachelor. Last year we saw Callahan. All these guys that the Mets are trying to develop. The key is, do they have a secondary pitch that they can throw consistently for strength?
That separates. That's the big separates the men from the boys.
Fastball popped up. Conforto coming in toward the line. And puts it away to retire Hernandez, 2 out. Rain Delay Theater with Steve Gelbs and Wayne Randazzo is now a podcast. Listen to their newest episode with Todd Frazier as he shares his memories of an early job as a carnival barker and how he got a sneaky edge on the way to winning the Little League World Series. Just search Rain Delay Theater and subscribe wherever you listen to your podcasts. Todd Frazier as a carnival barker. I could see that. He's got the right sound for it. There's Wilson Ramos, opposite field single, drove in a run his last time up, and he drives this one to left center, and Conforto's not going to get to it. Extra base hit for Ramos as he scurries his way into second with a 2-out double.
Well, another multi-hit game for Ramos. Always kills the Mets. He can just flat hit, gets this fastball up and in and turns on it.
Now 5 hits and 7 at bats with 4 extra base hits in his 2 games as a Philly. They have to wait for him to heal from a hamstring injury. But made his debut last night and making his presence felt tonight. They're going to ease him back in. Gabe Kapler said that Ramos would probably sit tomorrow after playing last night and tonight. Don't want him to put too much strain on that hamstring at least too quickly. Here's Nick Williams, who's 1 for 2, and that one gets behind Mesoraco.
Oh boy.
And over to third goes Ramos.
And that's number 2 on Mesoraco. He's just kind of losing a little focus back there. That's inexcusable right
That's
there.
his second pass ball of the night. The Mets have had only 8 passed balls all season, which is the 4th fewest in the National League, and 2 of them have come in this game. Williams swings through the fastball from Smith, 1-1. Nick Williams homered in the opener tonight. He's got a base hit, stolen base already in this game. Got in the rundown between first and second that allowed Cesar Hernandez to steal home in the second inning. 3rd time the Mets have had home stolen against them this year. And that's lofted into shallow left, and on comes Conforto to get it, and that retires the side. Scoreless inning for Drew Smith. We head for the 5th with the Phillies up 6-2. Popular green thing in Philadelphia is the Philadelphia Fanatic. I think he could run for mayor. I'd have trouble fitting behind the desk. You know, he's 300 some odd pounds. And he's very green. Did I mention that?
He's very green, and it'd be tough for him at the podium. What kind of microphone would you use there with that snout?
Interesting that the Phillies, who are associated with the color red, have a mascot who is predominantly green. Find that odd?
Yes.
Ahmed Rosario drops down a bunt, but it'll go foul. Where Rosario just has upped his game so significantly. He's been swinging the bat well. He's been playing well defensively, running the bases better. They've been working with him to drop down the occasional bunt to take advantage of his speed.
Well, those are things that he needs to do if he's going to hit in the leadoff spot. And the Mets are going to go to more athleticism and more speed. He's going to have to do the little things. Bunt. Learn to handle the bat. Learn the strike zone. But still, I don't want to take away his aggressiveness at the plate.
So that leads to another question as he strikes out on 3 pitches for the first out. So if you had your choice long term, and you don't know how guys are going to develop. You've got 3 guys who are going to be here for the long term, all of whom have led off for this team: Conforto, Nimmo, and Rosario. Which one of those 3 do you think projects long term as the leadoff hitter?
I think Nimmo for me more than Rosario, because Rosario hasn't got the knowledge of the strike zone yet. I think in a perfect world, Nimmo would be a terrific number 2 hitter, a left-hand hitter. He uses the whole field. I still feel, even though Conforto has struggled and has had success leading off, has been real well, obviously, leading off, I still think that he is a guy that is to be in the middle of the order that's going to drive in runs. He has yet to prove that.
I mean, both Nimmo and Conforto have shown that they can hit home runs, right? Nimmo's got 15 this year. Conforto's got 17 at 27 last year. So in a perfect world, you'd probably like them a little further down in the order, but more and more teams are more inclined now to put a guy who can hit a home run in the leadoff spot. You saw with Curtis Granderson as an effective leadoff hitter.
And look how they put their big guns in the number 2 spot in the lineup, how popular that's become. I'm, a guy that believes in the table setters for the 3, 4, and 5 hitters up top. He wants speed, particularly in this game today, where there's not a lot of focus and emphasis put on stolen bases. Put the pressure. I think you can really have your way. Strike 3 right there.
Back-to-back strikeouts for Eflin as he gets McNeil for the second out.
And McNeil does not strike out very much. Threw it by him there.
So, but probably the number 1 imperative for a leadoff hitter is a high on-base percentage, right? Right now on this team, Nimmo is your highest on-base percentage guy, and Conforto is the next guy.
Right.
Right. So, which one of them do you want hitting leadoff, and maybe sacrificing the run-producing ability that they might have further down in the order? Or do you hit them 1-2?
What I've seen of Nimmo and how he swung the bat the other night in Baltimore, and off a left-hander, Gary. I mean, Nimmo has got a chance. He got those 12 home runs early, late May, and all of a sudden, his average was up there around 300, and his average plummeted when he got to 12 and he started pulling too much and swinging up a little bit. It's now he's getting out of that habit, spraying the ball around. I just think he's the ideal table setter. I want him setting the tone. Your leadoff hitter gets up and sets the tone of your lineup. He's the guy that you're there, the little spark plug that gets your team going, and Nimmo obviously brings that energy.
Well, he had 8 straight hits before he got hurt earlier today on what turned out to be a ground out that ended that streak. Fly ball out to left, and Hoskins is there to retire Conforto. So it's a 1-2-3 inning for Eflin in the top of the 5th. Halfway through our second half of the doubleheader, 6-2. Rhys Hoskins leads off the home 5th inning and takes curveball inside from Drew Smith for ball 1. Hoskins set the tone in this game with a first inning 3-run homer against Steven Matz. And the Phillies have been in front ever since.
When you think of Hoskins spikes, Garrett, the color.
Well, they kind of match the uniform.
They do, but yuck.
Well, but if you like the powder blue uniform, what's wrong with the powder blue spikes?
Kind of stay with the whatever you want to call that maroon color.
Little floater into shallow center that'll fall for a base hit. And Hoskins is 2 for 2 in this game. Second hit against Drew Smith, who starts his 2nd inning of relief. Now Carlos Santana, who's been up twice and flying to center field both times. It's going to be fascinating to see how Gabe Kapler doles out the playing time at first base now with the acquisition of Bohr. You know, Santana was brought here to be a leader on this team. They gave him a lot of money in a 3-year deal. And, you know, he does get on base, drawn 88 walks this year, but has not hit nearly as well as they had hoped.
Yeah, but you got a team that is challenged offensively. We mentioned they're 14th in batting average, next to last. They're 11th in runs. You need a guy like him in the lineup swinging the bat and driving in runs, not walking. So I don't know what his value would be on the market. I mean, you know how I feel about Bohr. I think Bohr's got a big upside.
I'm just wondering about the last 6 weeks of this season as the Phillies battle for a postseason berth. It's popped up. Should be playable for Reinheimer into foul ground. And Santana retired 1 out. Time for the 5th inning recap, brought to you by Aetna Better Health of New Jersey. Hoskins' 3-run homer off the foul pole in the 1st inning provided the lead for the Phillies. They added 3 in the 2nd, 2 of them unearned against Steven Matz. First start back from the disabled list for Matz, and it did not go well. Didn't get out of the 1st inning in his previous start against the Nats, and lasts just 2 innings tonight. There's Maikel Franco. Now, Mickey Callaway was still being a little elusive before the game today, talking about whether the Mets intended to go with a 6-man rotation from here. And I wonder whether Matz's difficulties right now have any impact on that decision. The difficulty for the Mets, in addition to trying to put 6 guys out there on a regular basis, is that Mickey is also committed to pitching Jacob deGrom on regular rest, so that Jake gets his full complement of starts as he tries to battle for a Cy Young award. And he'd also like to get Noah Syndergaard out there on regular rest because Noah has pitched so little this year.
I think you take care of your big guns.
So then
keep them on the rhythm.
So that's great. So if you keep those 2 guys on 5 days, then what happens to everybody else, including Zach Wheeler? Does he pitch every 7th day?
I think you keep Zach Wheeler on a 5-day too.
So then
the big 3.
So then you probably can't, as Franco strikes out for the 2nd out. So you probably can't have a 6-man rotation. And since they're committed to sending Vargas out there because they need to get him going because they're going to have him back next year, does that mean that Oswalt gets bumped? Does it mean that Matz gets bumped? I can't imagine that's going to happen.
Well, if Oswalt goes in for long relief, he's your guy long. I mean, he's got to be the guy. I mean, Wheeler has made such great progress, Gary. I'm not going to impede that and get in the way and get him out of his rhythm.
Although there's got to be a school of thought, I would think, amongst the Mets brain trust that after throwing, 86 innings in the last 3 years before this year, at some point they have to limit him. That ball's going to fall in along the left field line for a base hit. Hoskins took a turnaround second, stop. Now the throw to third, and he's out. Hoskins stopped coming around 2nd and then accelerated, and he's gunned down at 3rd to end the inning. A pop fly single for Kingery, and Hoskins, very indecisive on the bases, gets thrown out at 3rd for the 3rd out.
Well, the ball was misplayed. It wasn't. He makes the turn, and I think he should have stopped. But he got a little bit too far, too much momentum going forward. Conforto did not field the ball cleanly, and that's when he changed his mind and he makes a perfect throw.
Well, it's a short throw for Conforto, and he made it right on the money to Reinheimer with a 7-5 putout that gets Smith through the fifth. Still 6-2 Philly. Wilmer Flores leads off the 6th inning. He fouls one off and breaks his bat in the process, and he'll wait for the bat boy to bring him a new one. Wilmer's 0 for 2. He's popped up and flied out. Austin Jackson and Jose Bautista follow. If you missed the first game of the doubleheader today, you missed a lot. Mets set a club record for runs scored in a 24-4 win, also the largest margin of victory in Mets history.
2 games in a row.
Wilmer drives one out to right. Nick Williams reels it in, one out. The Mets 15 or more runs in 2 straight games. First National League team to do that since the 1933 New York Giants. 40 runs in the last 2 games, the most they've scored in consecutive games in club history. Most hits they've ever had in a 9-inning game in club history, 25. It was a shellacking.
Yes, it was.
And, you know, the ultimate irony in that the Mets have suffered their worst ever defeat and their most lopsided ever win in less than 3 weeks. I mean, 57 years of club history, and in a 16-day span, the worst loss and the most lopsided win.
Well, when Gabe Kapler brought in his position players to throw, to gobble up some late innings, that was T-ball.
Roman Quinn worked an inning and 2/3. Scott Kingery an inning and a third. He soaked up the last 3 innings, gave up 9 runs between them. 2-2 to Austin Jackson, who has 3 doubles today, 2 in the first game and a double that led off the 4th inning, but Eflin was able to work through it and has not allowed another hit since, retiring 6 in a row. And he throws a slider off the plate. It's 3-2. Eflin has walked 2, struck out 2, or 3, excuse me, in his return from the minor leagues. 3-2 breaking ball fouled off. It's a little odd with a 4-run lead, but I guess that's the imperative these days, right?
It's what it's become.
Breaking balls in fastball counts, which I guess means they're not fastball counts anymore.
Change up too. That's secondary pitches. Oh,
he
right.
Strikes him out with a fastball. 4th strikeout for Eflin. 2 out and nobody out. Let's check in with the studio. Eamon McEnany has a game break. Brought to you by your local Honda dealers. All right, Amen and Tanner Roark's allowed just one hit as he works in the bottom of the 6th inning.
And Atlanta was down 2-1 to Colorado. They've taken the lead 3-2 in the bottom of the 6th.
Braves looking for their 6th straight win. And I'm happy to say that Ronald Acuna is in the lineup, 1 for 3 so far today. Bautista has walked and struck out in this game after driving in 7 runs in the opener. Three and 0 to Bautista with Mesoraco on deck. And he takes a strike.
There you go.
Well, the Phillies' loss in Game 1 has dropped them 2.5 back. Since the 1st of July, the Phillies have never been more than 2.5 in front or 2.5 behind. As ball 4 and Bautista is on.
And I tell you what, Washington 9 games out.
Yep.
I don't think they're going to make that up.
Well, they're under 500 now. The Nats
that
are.
is a stunner.
4 straight. Cardinals have handled them so far in that series. The Nats with that 5-1 lead in the 6th today, but they've got a lot of ground to make up with 2 teams in front of them. Now would be the time, though. Here's Mesoraco, who's lined out to right and drawn a walk 0 for 1. I always remember that the '69 Mets, right about this time, middle of August,
Turned it on.
9.5 games out, and they won the division by 8 games.
But
so it can be done.
It can be, and you with that lineup they had extraordinary pitching down the stretch.
37 of their last 48, I believe. That's pretty good. As Rocco flies one toward the right field line, over comes Williams, and that retires the side. So Zach Eflin through 6. He's allowed just 4 hits. He's got a 6-2 lead. Over, by the way, to show you every Little Leaguer who has participated in Little League baseball in the country this year. Here are some more of them.
Get your start somewhere, right?
And by the way, not everybody gets a trophy.
Good. I remember my father saying, well, the first, when I was 8 years old, to that first team, he said, Willie Mays, Dan Musial, Mickey Mantle was once your age. Why don't you make it you? There's got to be another one coming somewhere. I just bought into that.
Bobby Wall in to pitch for the Mets in the bottom of the 6th. Well, it worked for you.
It worked for me. And my neighborhood Bob McClure made it also. But I never played with Bob McClure in Little League. We were always enemies. He played for Sun Valley Dairy, and I was always with Lindemar Realty or Ed and Jim's Union 76.
Really? Imagine if your dad hadn't been your Little League coach.
I know.
Imagine if Mr. Buttermaker was your Little League coach. I wonder if things would have gone differently for you.
I probably would have been a full of brush man.
I don't know. But Buttermaker was good. He talked Ahmed down from the tree. The 42 errors. It's got to have the right touch, Zach Eflin struck out in his first 2 at-bats. Takes up and away from Wall. Last time we saw Bobby Wall was Tuesday night in Baltimore. Gave up that home run to Chris Davis. And he runs a full count against the opposing pitcher. Now, Dave Freed just told me that he doesn't believe that the younger part of our audience got the Bad News Bears references. My contention is that every young person should see the Bad News Bears, right?
I never saw the Bad News Bears.
So you didn't get the Buttermaker reference.
I'm just sitting there nodding like I know.
Oh, okay.
I'm just going, you got it, Gary. You go.
So maybe the younger audience did get it, and it was just you, my elderly audience.
I have no idea what you're talking about. Okay. Yes, I'm just shaking my head. I'm nodding.
I never would have guessed that.
I never saw the Bad News Bears.
You're such a good actor. 9th pitch to Eflin, and he pops one up in foul ground. And Wilmer should have room.
Would you recommend that I see that?
How could you not have seen Bad News Bears?
I didn't.
You're a former professional baseball player. It's one of the greatest baseball movies ever made.
Then I'll watch it this winter.
It's hilarious.
I'll watch it.
It probably couldn't get made today because it's a little off color.
Right.
But, I mean,
I'll watch it this winter.
Every baseball fan should.
I just got a big brand new TV in Florida. Monster.
I mean, when you say big, how big are we talking? Roman Quinn drops down a beauty of a bunt.
Forget it.
And Wall has no chance. So Roman Quinn using his speed. Beautifully executed bunt hit.
Well, it is a beautiful bunt. Look at him. Bat out in front, level, parallel to the ground.
And now some concern about Bobby Wall, I believe, after picking up that bunt. Callaway's coming out with the trainer.
And when you can run, he really deadened it nice too towards the end of the bat.
So what happened with Wall?
Whenever I see something like this, I think of Ron Darling. What was it, 1987? 87.
Picking up Vince Coleman's bunt.
Leading that game. He's throwing a gem, our best pitcher down the stretch.
Torn ligament in his thumb.
Yep, he was done.
Kept pitching.
Yep, but he was done for the year.
He was working on a no-hitter at the time, too.
Oh, please. We wound up losing that game.
Well, I don't know whether it's related to picking up the bunt or something else, but Wall's coming out of the game.
He grimaced.
Well, he's not necessarily coming out of the game. In fact, he's staying in the game. My bad.
Staying in. Yep.
So Wall will stick around to face Cesar Hernandez with a runner aboard. Hernandez has already walked, singled, stole home on a double steal, scored 2 runs Mets' third doubleheader of the season. The first two resulted in splits, and the Phillies trying to negotiate another split today. And one of the two prior doubleheaders was also against the Phillies. It was at Citi Field. It's a huge lead for Quinn.
I'll say.
He's already stolen a base in this game.
That'll get your attention. But look at him get back. So he can be pretty comfortable with that lead.
He's got great speed for a pitcher. You know, such as he was in the first game today.
There's that pine tar. Boy, he just got a cake. Not even caked on that. That's like slick. Looks like he's lost his fastball, Gary. I wonder if that hand's, something in that hand is bothering him. He did not have much. Whatever. He just,
not sure if it was his hand or his leg.
Right.
That was really concerning him. Never really grabbed a body part. Quinn runs. The throw by Mesoraco. A good one, but too late.
Beautiful throw.
Perfect throw, but Quinn has his second stolen base of the game and his fourth of the year.
Tell you
Put
what.
up some gaudy minor league stolen base numbers, as many as 36 in a season.
And this is a perfect throw. He just beat the throw by a whisker. Terrific jump. How explosive was that?
One and one to Hernandez. Takes the fastball high. Fourth stolen base of the game for the Phillies. He came into the day next to last in the National League in steals. First three came against Steven Matz, who's given up more stolen bases than any pitcher in the league. Wall struggling now behind on Hernandez 3-1 with Wilson Ramos parked on deck. The Mets, with their win in the first game today, are now 42-18 in this ballpark since 2012. That is the best record for any team in a visiting ballpark other than the Nationals against the Mets at Citi Field over that same span. There's a strike 3-2. The Nats are 47-19 against the Mets at Citi Field over the last 7 years, and the Mets are now 42-18 against the Phillies here. So everybody's got their whipping boy. Mets have won 6 of 9 from the Phillies overall this year. If the Phillies don't get in, the Mets might be a big reason why. 3-2 coming, and that's whacked toward the gap in left center field. That's going to split him and go all the way back to the wall. Quinn comes in to score. Hernandez pulls in at second with an RBI double, and the Phillies stretch their lead to 7-2. Cesar Hernandez on base for the third time in this game.
Using that opposite field gap here. Fastball up, outside corner, but up.
Now Wilson Ramos, single, a double, and an RBI in this game. His second game as a Philly, and it's gone well for him so far. He takes a strike. Ramos with his 2 hits up to 307 on the year. Ten hits now for the Phillies in this game. They had 10 hits in the first game, but fell 20 runs short.
That's getting someone up in the bullpen.
Tyler Bachelor next man up. Mets have already used 3 relievers in this game after Matz lasted just 2 innings. Seawald 1 inning, Drew Smith 2, and now Wall struggling here in the 6th. Butler knocks it down.
You see his reaction after that pitch. He kind of limped a little wall. Watch after he throws this ball. His legs bothering him. You can see it from that center field camera. Watch his reaction after this pitch. Yep, he's hurting a little bit there.
Grabbed a little bit at the back of his right leg, and that play was over. One-two coming to Ramos. And he sells one high, changeup. 2-2.
They're going to go get him any moment here. That's just says he loses this batter. And it's apparent that he's in some discomfort. Wall, I should say, not he.
He strikes out Ramos with a changeup, and that's the 2nd out. And now a quick message from your Tri-State Porsche dealers. Just watch that left hand break.
That is a short message.
It's a nice carve.
Oh.
Here's Nick Williams, 1 for 3. And a base hit in the 1st, stole a base in the 2nd. Homered in the 1st game of the doubleheader today. Hernandez at 2nd with 2 out, a run home for the Phillies in the 6th. And Williams smacks one to center. On comes Jackson, reaching down, and he made the shoestring catch, I believe.
I think he did. He did, no question.
Well, I didn't see much of an indication from an umpire.
First base umpire made the call. No, he did not.
He trapped it. That's a base hit. Jackson believes that he caught it, but it appeared on the replay as though he trapped it. Hernandez comes home, and that makes it an 8-2 game. Now, the first base umpire says
out,
that he called him out. That's Jeremy Rehack. Gabe Kapler wanted to know what the call was on the field because there wasn't much emphasis from the umpiring crew.
Gosh almighty.
And Kapler says, if you said it was out, I need to challenge it, I would think.
What's going on
and
here?
Now he does ask for the challenge.
Come on, guys, get a little hustle out there. Go take a look.
Well, it certainly appeared as though the ball hit the turf, and that's going to be a base hit for Williams. But the call on the field was out.
Certainly
although
was.
Not an emphatic call at all. In fact, to the point where Gabe Kapler didn't even know what the umpires had called. And the crowd just now seeing the replay on the scoreboard, which seems to indicate that Jackson trapped it. And we'll wait with you while Dana DeMuth and Jerry Meals make the decision in the replay center in Chelsea. Jeremy Rehack, who made the call, to the left, and the crew chief Jerry Davis to the right on the headsets. It certainly appears as though the ball was on the ground.
Yep. It shouldn't take too long, should it? There we go. Here comes the call.
And they do overturn it. So it's a base hit for Williams to drive in a run, makes it 8-2 Philadelphia. See how the umpires handle this in real time as again the trainer talks to Wall.
Check the umpire out here. It's the second base umpire, Jerry Davis. It just
nobody moves.
Nobody moves. It's just lazy. I'm sorry.
But with a runner on base and the second base umpire playing on the infield, that's got to be the corner umpire's play. The first base umpire's got to make more of a move to go out toward the ball to make that call.
Well,
Someone's got to hustle. It's called hustle.
See, when the
umpires are becoming spectators.
With a runner on base, the umpire, second base umpire, moves to the infield. Whereas with nobody on base, he plays out in the outfield, and that would be his call. And the umpires have certain rotations they're supposed to use to make sure they get a good view of the play. Hit out to left center, shallow. In comes Jackson to catch the fly ball from Hoskins, and that finally puts an end to the inning. 2 runs come home for the Phillies in the 6th. They lead 8-2 going to the 7th. Zach Eflin still out there as we go to the 7th inning. Jack Reinheimer leads off against him and takes a fastball strike. Reinheimer 0 for 2 in his first start for the Mets. Todd Frazier on deck to pinch hit for the pitcher, and then Ahmed Rosario in the 7th. Mets have been limited to 4 hits in the nightcap. The first 3 came from the first 3 batters of the game. Rosario, McNeil, and Conforto with 3 consecutive doubles. They've had just 1 hit since. After the Mets banged out 25 hits and scored 24 runs in the opener. Reinheimer laces one into left for a base hit. So Reinheimer down in the count has the Mets' first single of this game and their 5th hit.
Nice hitting right there.
Now Todd Frazier to pinch hit. Todd went 1 for 4 in the opener, doubled and drove in a run. He's now hit 9 straight games. Best stretch of the season for Todd. Last night in Baltimore, 3 hits, including a home run. He drove in 4 runs. So as Todd heads toward his first return to Williamsport since his Little League World Series title 20 years ago, he's having himself a nice stretch, finally getting himself righted after 2 stints on the disabled list. Lunges for that slider, and it's 0-2. Zach Eflin had been struggling lately, but not tonight. Last 5 starts, 1-2 with a 5 ERA, but he's allowed just 2 runs and 5 hits over 6 innings plus tonight. Frazier lays off 2-2. So let's see. The Mets played in Miami Sunday. They played in New York on Monday.
Right.
They played in Baltimore Tuesday, Wednesday, and they're playing in Philadelphia tonight. That's road games against 4 different teams in a 5-day span. Mets have never done that before in their history. Frazier strikes out for the first out of the inning. 5 strikeouts now for Eflin. And with all that moving around, the Mets are 5-2 on this road trip. They won 2 out of 3 in Miami, beat the Yankees in that makeup game, split 2 with Baltimore, and won the first game of this series.
They're getting good pitching from the big 3. That always helps. And that is something to look forward to going forward next year.
Well, and they hit 5 home runs, scored 8 runs on Monday in DeGrom's start. They scored 40 runs the last 2 games, 16 last night, 24 in the first game today. They'll have a little catching up to do in the late innings today to get to that level of production. But it's nice to see that they're having more good offensive days lately. Rosario's been part of that. He doubled leading off this game after hitting a home run on the first pitch of game 1 today. That's drilled down the left field line toward the corner. That's going to bounce around off the wall. Reinheimer to third. He's going to be waved home. And he will score without a throw. It's an RBI double for Rosario, his second double of the game. And it cuts the Phillies lead to 8-3. So Rosario continues to swing a hot bat.
Yes, he does.
4 hits in the opener, now 2 doubles in the nightcap.
Very, very quick here inside. Turns on that one.
And Reinheimer showing some good speed, coming home from first
yes,
on a 2-base hit. So the Mets' 6th hit of the night. And now Jeff McNeil, who had a double in the first inning, 1 for 3.
Big turn right there. Nice easy strides. He can run. Didn't have to slide. Where's the help? Where's that on deck batter telling him to stand up?
Neal fouls it away. It's 0-2. Well, it was 5-1 Washington. Now it's 5-4.
Boy, they are leaking oil.
Their bullpen is struggling. But the way the Dodgers bullpen is struggling since Kenley Jansen went down. 7 straight games the Dodger bullpen has either blown a lead or lost a tie game. Last night they came back and beat the Giants after blowing a late lead. Dodgers now a game and a half back in the West and 2.5 back in the wild card. Luis Garcia's up. Both of last year's World Series teams struggling. Houston finally won a game at home last night. They had lost 9 straight home games, and their lead's only 2 games in the AL West. Grounded to the right side, and Hernandez has it. 2 out. Rosario goes to third. Let's check in with the studio. Eamon McEnany has another game break. Eamon. Julio Teheran, the noted home run hitter. We saw that with our own eyes.
Yes, we did.
Here's Conforto with 2 out and a runner at third. Conforto drove in the first 2 Met runs with a double, and he hits that one off the glove of Santana, and that'll bring in another run. Rosario comes in to score. 3 RBI night for Conforto, and now it's 8-4 Philadelphia.
Conforto is starting to turn that corner, it looks like. I mean, you're ready to get into a hot streak. Swinging the bat much better. Boy, up hop like that. Tough chance, but Santana not known for his glove. I mean, he's turning on this fastball
That's going to be all for Zach Eflin. Gabe Kapler will come to get him after 96 pitches over 6 2/3. A week that saw Eflin sent back to the minor leagues in a procedural move. He comes back and gives the Phillies a nice effort tonight. Now Luis Garcia will come in to replace him. To answer our Verizon trivia question, the two pitchers who've struck out 200 for the Phillies against the Mets. We know Steve Carlton's one. Of course, Cole Hamels is the other. Chris Short is third on that list. Jim Bunning fourth. Randy Wolf is fifth. Not a Kurt Schilling to be found.
Chris Short, very underrated pitcher, left-hander.
Wilmer Flores pops up the first pitch he sees from Luis Garcia. Santana in foul ground, reels it in, and so Garcia throws one pitch and gets the third out. Conforto forgot how many outs there were and didn't run.
Oh my gosh, Michael.
Stretch time, 8-4 Phillies.
Oh.
You go.
That's right.
Even if you're a major league coach.
Yep. Look at this. Look at the reaction.
Oh.
They don't like it.
Wait a second. Somebody's watching.
Oh boy. Well.
Not everybody's happy about being surveilled.
Such is playing in New York.
You know, there was a pitcher who will remain nameless who used to have a microphone in the bullpen at Citi Field, and every day he would disconnect the microphone.
That's right.
You know, it allows us to hear the ball hitting the mid when pitchers are warming up. Tyler Bachelor will be the 5th Met pitcher of this game. It's all part of the show.
Oh. Bachelor's got some good stuff. Drops a hammer right there on Santana. I pitched a third of an inning in that first game in relief of Seawald up in Baltimore. Got the out.
Santana's 0 for 3 tonight. 2 fly balls and a foul pop-up. Takes inside 1-1. StatCast AI powered by Amazon Web Services. Full shift on against Santana. Bachelor rushes one inside at 98. 2 balls and a strike. 12th big league appearance for Tyler Bachelor. Was called up from Double-A to the big leagues. He's walked a few too many. Hasn't struck out many considering how hard he throws. Only 8 strikeouts in 17 innings. Tyler Bachelor, Georgia native, 11th round draft pick.
Gotta wonder how Atlanta got away from Atlanta. Atlanta loves to draft native Georgians.
2-2 coming, and Santana rockets one to deep right center, back in the gap and toward the wall, and it's beyond the reach of Bautista. Jackson recovers it, and Santana pulls in at second base with a leadoff double. 99-mile-an-hour fastball, and he turned it around. Bautista got closer to it than I expected him to.
Just
couldn't quite get there.
Got in enough on Santana. I thought Bautista had a chance.
You know how bad the Fanatic smells?
Yes, especially on a night like this.
Kids love them, though. Hit number 12 for the Phillies tonight. Santana's first hit of the game, and now Maikel Franco, who's gone 0 for 3, lined out, grounded out, struck out. 2 hits in the opener, including a home run. It's foul back. Franco, the only regular in the Phillies lineup without a hit in this game.
And Phillies have 12 hits. The Mets have 7.
Well, it means the Mets have 32 hits for the day, and the Phillies have 22.
Mets have 28 runs for the day.
That's right.
Watch Santana's back leg kind of dip there. Bend. He's a power hitter. That is a power stroke right there. That's a low ball hitter.
Bachelor head on Franco 0-2. And the curveball, this is low. Ford leaderboard. Phillies home run leaders. Hoskins hit 2 today, 1 in each game of the doubleheader. Franco has 1 today. Williams has 1 today. Constantly changing that leaderboard. And Franco with a half swing, but he stopped it in time. 2-2.
Most I've seen Bachelor throw the breaking ball. Really can't get it over. He's missing close, but it's a good breaking ball. But normally he just throws predominantly fastball.
Part of his evolution early in his big league career. By the way, speaking of pitchers not getting breaking balls over, I don't know if I've ever been more impressed with Zach Wheeler than what he did last night with absolutely no breaking ball. Couldn't throw his curve for a strike, couldn't throw his slider for a strike.
So he went to his fastball. And years prior, he would have been kept throwing that breaking ball and would have been in the shower in the 3rd inning.
That's lined toward the left field corner, and Franco's got a base hit. Cut off by Conforto. Santana will score. Franco to second. It can't be handled cleanly by McNeil, and Franco is safe. Another terrific throw by Conforto, and Franco would have been a dead duck had McNeil been able to pick up that one-hop throw. Instead, it's an RBI double for Franco to make it 9-4.
It just seems that Conforto was much more comfortable in left field, even with his throwing, much more accurate.
Already has 1 outfield assist tonight and probably should have had another one, but McNeil just couldn't handle it. So the Phillies, after the Mets beat into the Phillies lead in the top of the inning, get 1 back. And here's Scott Kingery, who's got a home run and a bloop single tonight. 2 for 3.
Yeah, this is definitely a long day at the yard, as we'd say, your old doubleheader, especially the first game. The first game was pretty quick for all those runs.
Considering there were 35 hits in that game, lasted just over 3 hours.
Yeah, you can see that Baster's not getting that curve over.
This was the second inning against Matz.
Yeah, it didn't go so well for Steven. 2 innings pitched, 6 hits, 6 runs, all earned. 4 earned, excuse me.
And Kingery gets one off the fists and pops it up. Wilmer reels it in for the first out of the inning. Could Teddy Bridgewater be a sneaky long shot in the Jets QB race? SNY's NFL insider Ralph Vacchiano has the latest on where things currently stand on SNY.TV, your online home of all things New York sports. Now Justin Bour will be a pinch hitter. Bour played first base in the first game today, went 0 for 5 after making his first start for the Phillies against the Red Sox last night.
He looks different in that Philly uniform.
I think everybody looks bigger in those baby blues. I don't know if the pants hiked up is such a great idea for Justin.
I would tend to agree. He's a big monster, though. Look at him.
Grounds one into the shift. Rosario far to his left and throws out Bour. That's a 6-3 put out. And over to third goes Franco, 2 out. So now Robin Quinn. Quinn has scored 2 runs in this game. He reached on an error in the second, stole a base and scored. He laid down a bunt single in the 6th, stole a base and scored. So Quinn getting just his 5th start of the year for the Phillies as the Fanatic polishes.
The Fanatic never rests.
You know, he did that to me once. He came in our booth and he
yes, I remember.
He did the same routine.
Did you?
It was very nice of him to you know, to make sure that the chrome was properly polished. Ball strike to Quinn, 1-1.
A selfie.
1-1 to Quinn, and he takes a strike. Strong outing for John Lester tonight. 6 scoreless innings. Cubs beat the Pirates 1-0, and that stretches the Cubs' lead to 3.5 games over the Brewers. Big win for the Cubs yesterday to split the 2-game series with Milwaukee and stay 3 ahead, now 3.5.
And that just puts a dent in the Pirates' hopes. They're push them back here.
4 straight losses now for Pittsburgh. So they're 9.5 back, 6.5 in the wild card, and their time is running out. Two coming to Quinn, and he fouls back the fastball. Coming up later tonight, Geico Sports Night after the post game. All the Jets and Giants news and all the baseball as well. It's Geico Sports Night every night after the post game and deep into the night.
It's nice to have Dave here, isn't it?
You mean Dave Freed?
Your stat man.
Well, he doesn't usually travel for us.
Unusual.
He didn't actually come here today to work for us. It was a side benefit that he was here for the
Oh,
second.
he's working for free.
Well, not exactly.
We got Russ here. Al.
Well, Russ and Al always come to Philly.
Well, it's like we're home.
But Dave's not even going to be here tomorrow. He's just here for the day.
Dave had nothing better to do? Oh, there's Dave.
That's not Dave.
Dave used to be a little intern back when we were playing, right, Dave?
Quinn flies one out to center, and Jackson, with plenty of room, puts it away to retire the side. But the Phillies tack one on, and we head to the 8th. High five for the Fanatic. 9-4 Phillies as they try for the split. From Pat Steaks. You choose. I know I can.
Ooh.
Cheese steaks in Philadelphia.
What is the cut of that meat? You know?
I don't think you really want to know, Keith.
I think you're right.
Just make sure it has the cheese whiz on it. Throw some onions, and I'm very happy. Jim's on South Street, very underrated. We go to the 8th inning. That's down by 5 after winning the first game by 20. Yes, that's right. If you're just tuning in, 24-4 was the final score. Mets with the most lopsided win in their history and the most runs they've ever scored in a game. The 23-year-old rookie from Mexico, Victor Arano, has had a terrific year for the Phillies.
Boy, I'll say 3 for 3 in saves. Look at that sparkling ERA. Look at the walks.
Austin Jackson leads off for New York in the 8th. He has a double in 3 trips in this game after 2 doubles in the opener. And he takes a slider for a strike, and that's what Arano does. Slider after slider after slider. Jackson, Bautista, and Mesoraco for the Mets in the 8th. Zach Eflin went 6 2/3 for the Phils, allowed 4 runs, 7 hits. Luis Garcia threw 1 pitch to get the 3rd out in the 7th, and now Arano working the 8th. Gabe Kapler was questioned by the Phillies media between games about using position players to work the last 3 innings in the opener, and he said, look, we were down 10, 11, 12 runs. We're not going to win that game. He said, I needed to save my bullpen for the nightcap, and so he did.
That makes sense to me.
And Arano strikes out Austin Jackson to start the 8th inning.
I think he got a foul ball. I think I tipped it.
Okay. That's why we bring White out.
The umpires aren't real emphatic in their calls. I know that it's been a long day for everybody.
Not the home plate umpire. He didn't work the first game. That's a foul ball.
Watch Arano lean towards first base. There he goes. Right there. He's starting to do it right now.
It's pretty unusual, isn't it?
A little bit, yeah. You think he would throw a lot of hangers that way too, because you're kind of opening up real quick. You know, Ronnie always says to keep that front shoulder tucked. He does not. Oh, Colorado. How about that? 3 runs in the 9th.
Ground ball. Kingery hasn't come up nicely for him, and he throws out Jackson one away. Drive around the majors, presented by Cadillac. Rays held off the Yankees despite the Yankees loading the bases with nobody out in the 9th.
Colorado
John
still.
Lester, the 6 scoreless innings for the Cubs today. The Nats trying to hang on against the Cardinals, and look at the Rockies. David Dahl with the go-ahead hit in the 9th. Well, the Rockies forging forward with everybody else collapsing around them.
Well, they were down 3-2 going in the 9th. They got 3 runs. They're still hitting.
Colorado a game and a half out in the West and just 2 games back in the wild card. So they are definitely a factor. They've had a strange season. Some tremendous hot streaks, particularly with their starting pitching at home, and then stretches where they can't get anybody out. Bautista's walked twice in this game after driving in 7 runs in the opener. Finds the outside corner with the slider, and it's 2-2. Devin Mesoraco on deck. And the slider popped up. Hernandez into shallow center. And there are 2 out. Tonight's starters brought to you by People's United Bank. Steven Matz coming off the disabled list, didn't go well. Zach Eflin coming back from a brief trip to the minor leagues, fared somewhat better. And his team got him plenty of runs.
Well, he only gave up 2 runs in the first inning and just couldn't finish off that 6th.
Here's Mesoraco, who's 0 for 2 and a walk tonight. And he has to lean away. Ball 1. Phillies, with their loss in the first game today, have lost 6 of their last 9. Offense has been their biggest concern during that stretch, but Gabe Kapler's gotten plenty of offense in this game. Two and 0 to Mesoraco, and he takes the breaking ball inside. 3-0. Jack Reinheimer, who had a base hit his last time up, waiting on deck. Tomorrow, 6 o'clock start in Philadelphia. That means our coverage begins at 5:30. Noah Syndergaard will make the start against the Phillies ace Aaron Nola. Mets and Phillies tomorrow night right here on SNY. And Jacob deGrom goes Saturday against Jake Arrieta. Battle of the Jakes.
2 nice pitching matchups back to back. Glad to see Jacob get that win in Yankee Stadium up against Severino.
Mets have scored 8 runs for deGrom in each of his last 2 starts. Perhaps it's the start of a trend. 3-2 coming, and that's ball 4. Mesoraco draws a 2-out walk. So the Mets have a base runner, and Reinheimer comes up. Jack, who was briefly known by his alternate name Zach in his debut last night.
Am I missing something?
When he came into pinch run last night, we briefly had a graphic that identified him as Zach Reinheimer.
Oh, you would notice that.
But of course his name is Jack.
The grammar police.
It was a momentary lapse.
Grammar police.
On the part of our truck. You'd think the last name would be more challenging than the first name. Maybe because Zach Wheeler's game to pitch. He got stuck on Zach rather than Jack. Anyway, his name is Jack. So I think that's the last time he'll ever be known as Zach. Although you never know. John Patrick Reinheimer, known as Jack. See, I almost did it again. 2-1 to Reinheimer.
Toronto just big lead and put his infielders to sleep.
Kevin Plawecki, who had a big game in the first game of the doubleheader, is out on deck to pinch hit. So here's an obscure club record. Plawecki got on base 6 times. Tied a Mets club record for a catcher.
A lot of things went down.
A lot of records tied or broke. Throws one by Reinheimer, and it's 2-2. Here's Plawecki. He's been doing the bulk of the catching lately. Had a grand slam last night in Baltimore. Big game in the first game today. And Reinheimer goes down on the slider to end the inning. So Arano works around a 2-out walk. We head to the bottom of the 8th in the city of brotherly love. It's 9-4 Phillies. Live streaming presented by Verizon. Just visit SNY.TV or download the NBC Sports app today for live streaming coverage of every SNY Mets game. Tyler Bachelor begins his second inning of relief, facing the top of the batting order. Cesar Hernandez has had a big night. He's been on base 3 times, single, double, walk. He's scored 3. He's stolen a base. He's driven in a run. He swings through the fastball by Bachelor. A ball and a strike. Wilson Ramos on deck, and then Nick Williams. Bachelor gave up a run in the 7th on back-to-back doubles by Santana and Franco, but got the next 3 hitters out. A long night for the Mets bullpen, called upon in the 3rd inning because Steven Matz threw 58 pitches and gave up 6 runs in the first 2 innings in his first start back from the disabled list. Skied to left, and Conforto in a few strides to retire Hernandez 1 out. Paul Sewald went 1 inning. Drew Smith went 2. Bobby Wall gave up 2 runs in the 6th, and then Bachelor surrendered a run in the 7th. Here's Ramos, who's 2 for 4 in his second game as a Philly.
Dunk. Sorry. I just was daydreaming and something blurted out.
Is that like?
Don't even go there.
I'm not.
Oh.
Sometimes I need an interpreter. Parse through your sounds and size.
God, it's just so weird to see those old Philly throwback uniforms.
Toward the hole just past Reinheimer into left field, and Wilson Ramos has his 2nd straight 3-hit game in his first 2 games as a Philly. 6 hits now in 9 Phillies at bats.
He needs to stay healthy. He can flat hit.
So the Phillies have their 14th hit of this game. Their 3rd against Bachelor, 1 out and 1 on. And now Nick Williams, who drove in a run with a base hit his last time up, 2 for 4 in this game.
This crowd kind of left the ball yard here.
Must have been a long day for them too.
Yeah.
Started playing baseball.
Yeah, and they're both
6.5 hours ago.
First game of absolute blowout, and this one really, you know, when it's close enough, I've seen teams come back from it.
Nice thing for the home fans in the first game is they got an opportunity to see a couple of position players pitch, and they really got into that. It always seems to be something that fans latch on to. Now, we're seeing more of it this year than ever, so I'm not sure if the novelty will wear off, especially when they have to watch 3 innings of it. Just had Jose Reyes go to the mound in that game a few weeks ago in Washington.
They haven't fared very well, these everyday players that pitch.
That's why they don't pitch on a regular basis.
Well, you know that we were just in Miami. Tommy Hutton, we ran into Tommy Hutton, who's the old Philly that was the Tom Seaver killer.
Right.
The backup first baseman for the Phillies, a pinch hitter extraordinaire.
But he couldn't get you out.
He came in a blowout game in Busch Stadium, and he threw me a 3-2 lazy breaking ball, and I took him for a 3-run shot. We were talking about that when we in Miami.
And that counts on your career record.
You darn right it does.
It's not like it gets some asterisk put next to it. Hit hard and snagged out of the air by McNeil, and he doubles up Ramos to end the inning. Nice play by McNeil to get that ball before it hit the dirt. And the 4-3 double play ends the bottom of the 8th. We head for the 9th. Mets down by 5. All right, gentlemen, here it's the 9th inning. Phillies 3 outs away from a split. The Coors Light refreshing finish, and it's Yoxel Rios, just recalled from the minor leagues today, trying to get the final 3 outs.
The first Yoxel in the history of baseball.
That's
you mentioned, Garrett.
True. And Kevin Plawecki, the first Plawecki in the history of baseball. So it's Yoxel and Plawecki. Trailblazers head-to-head, 9th inning. Kevin on base 6 times in the opening game of the doubleheader. Triple, single, walk, single, double. Drove in 3 runs after his grand slam last night. So it's been a pretty good couple of games for Kevin. And now getting the pinch hitting assignment here in the 9th against Yoxel Rios, the 25-year-old from Puerto Rico. Ahmed Rosario on deck, then Jeff McNeil in the 9th. And Plawecki takes a strike. Rios trying to finish it off for Zach Eflin and get him his 9th win of the year and get the Phillies a split and get the Phillies a half game in the standings, because the Braves have lost to the Rockies 5-3. Rockies scoring 3 in the 9th, all unearned after a Dansby Swanson error. So if the Phillies win this game, they'll be a game and a half behind Atlanta for the lead in the East. And they will retain one of the wild card spots for another day. And Plawecki dribbles one. Rios on the backhand. Oh, throw, and it skips by Santana. Plawecki will go to second. Boy, pitchers throwing to first base, man. Saw Matz struggle with it earlier today. And now a bad throw by Rios, a 2-base error.
That is the 5th error of this doubleheader by the Phils.
Right through the 5-hole on Santana. So the Mets have the leadoff man on in the 9th, and here's Rosario, who's had a big day. 4 hits, including a home run in the opener, 2 doubles in the nightcap. He's gone 6 for 11 in the 2 games, with 3 extra base hits. Rosario has pushed his average up to 245 for the year. Rios pops a fastball in for a strike, and it's 1-1. 97 on that fastball from Rios. Jeff McNeil on deck, and Rosario takes inside. 2 balls and a strike. There's nobody up at the moment behind Rios, but that's about to change. Gabe Kapler's not going to let this game slip away. And they've got somebody on call in the bullpen now. And Rosario fouls off the slider, and it's 2-2. Sir Anthony Dominguez up in the bullpen.
That is a very nice first name.
Two coming to Rosario, and Ahmed slashes 1 foul.
Well, here's the normal deliveries, little 3/4. And now watch the throw here. Look at, he squared up to the first base, and he threw it sidearm, and he even almost threw like a screwball over there. As a result,
Error.
Oops.
Errant throw with an errant delivery. Ball squares up. 2-2. Foul ball. Who wants it? Who's going to play the carol?
Yeah, he's all hopped up. The little daughter's happy.
Nice job, Dad.
Dad. Behave
Can I
yourself.
have the ball now, please? Thank you. Up and in, and a full count to Rosario. So Rios having trouble getting an out here in the ninth. And I would imagine Kepler's not going to wait too long.
No, he wants to nail this one down. I'm sure all those Phillies out there in the field want to get in the shower.
Eighth pitch of the at bat coming to Rosario. And Ahmed takes ball 4, and the Mets have the first 2 men on in the ninth. So Rosario's fine day continues, and the pitching coach Rick Kranitz will head out to the mound to talk to Rios, who will probably get one more batter. If he doesn't get McNeil out, it might be the end of his tenure in this game. They were trying to stay away from Dominguez if they could. The Phillies last night used 7 relievers. Vince Velasquez got knocked out in the 3rd, so they emptied their entire bullpen last night, including Dominguez, to secure themselves a victory. Dominguez worked an inning of 3rd last night, so they were hoping to stay away from him tonight, but now he's on call with Rios struggling.
It's like, young man, you got a 5-run lead. No walks.
So now McNeil, who's 1 for 4, hit a double beyond the reach of Hoskins in left field back in the 1st inning. Grounded out twice and struck out since. Plawecki at 2nd, Rosario at 1st with nobody out. That's trying to build a rally in the 9th, and McNeil lifts one to left center. Should be easy for Quinn, and he puts it away for the 1st out. Plawecki tags at 2nd. He'll go to 3rd. So 1 away, runners on the corners, and Michael Conforto coming up. Michael's had a good game. 3 hits in the opener today, including a home run. 2 hits in the nightcap, including a double, and he's driven in 3. So Michael is 5 for 11 in the doubleheader, with 3 extra base hits. First and 3rd and 1 out, and Conforto takes away for ball 1. Up the middle, and Conforto's got a base hit. That'll bring in Plawecki. Rosario pulls in at 2nd. 4th RBI of this game for Michael Conforto. And now it's 9-5 Philadelphia, and the Mets need just 1 more base runner to get the tying run to the plate, and that'll be the cue for Gabe Kapler to make a pitching change.
Boy, oh boy. Down and away sinker, going up the middle, like what I've seen from Michael tonight.
So 6 hits in the doubleheader for Conforto. Save opportunity for Sir Anthony Dominguez. He's coming in. We'll be right back. Wilmer Flores up against Sir Anthony Dominguez, whose first pitch slider misses low and away.
Well, he's been their big surprise here. A big gifted arm. Throws hard. Rookie. Some pretty nice numbers right there. Look at the hits for innings pitched.
Took over the closer's role when Hector Neris faltered. Neris is back, but Dominguez running with the closer's job. A couple of sliders in a row, and Wilmer was able to check his swing on that. And Dominguez behind 2-0. Wilmer's 0 for 4 in this game after 3 hits and 2 RBIs in the opener. Michael Conforto 4 RBIs in this game, matching his career high. And now the Mets need one more base runner to get the tying run to bat, and Wilmer dumps one into right center. That's a base hit. Rosario turns third. He'll come in to score. Conforto goes to third. Flores with an RBI single. It's now 9-6, and the Mets will bring the tying run to the plate. So the Mets not going quietly after once trailing this game by 6 runs.
Well, we're going with that pitch, and the Mets are within striking distance. This would be a nice victory and a devastating loss for the Phillies.
They still have some uphill climbing to do. Austin Jackson will come up as the tying run. Jackson 1 for 4 in this game, has 4 hits, including 3 doubles in the doubleheader today. Conforto now at third, Flores at first with 1 out. And Jackson takes away, and Dominguez having a little trouble throwing the ball over the plate. Rally cap is in order. Mets were down 8-2 in this game. They got 2 in the 7th. And now they've got 2 runs home in the 9th, down 9-6. Fastball thrown by Jackson, 1-1. Austin with 2 home runs this year. Both have come since he's joined the Mets. Jose Bautista, who hit a grand slam in the opener, waiting on deck. And Jackson hits one slowly foul, and it's 1-2. This inning began with the throwing error by Yaxel Rios, who then walked Rosario. Conforto with a 1-out single to play to run, and then Flores greeting Dominguez with an RBI single to get the Mets within striking distance. Now Dominguez ahead 1-2 on Jackson. And Austin chases the slider for strike 3. 2 men down. So Dominguez restoring some order, and the Mets are down to their final out. And now it's Bautista, who drove in 7 runs in the opener, tying a major league record for a player who didn't start a game.
And this is the guy you didn't want to get up to the plate in the 9th inning.
He's walked twice in this game, otherwise 0 for 2. Bautista's grand slam was his 10th home run of the year. He takes a cut of the slider, and it's 1-1.
Boy, that was a good one right there.
The Mets are down to their final strike. Off the plate, 2-2. Two coming, and a half swing.
No, he didn't.
He stopped it. First base umpire Jeremy Rehack confirming, and it's 3-2. If Bautista can keep it going, Devin Mesoraco would be next. Flores can run now with 3-2 and 2 out. He's at first, Conforto at third. Bautista the tying run at the plate. 3-2 coming from Dominguez, and he struck him out. And the Phillies get a split of the doubleheader. 43 runs on the day. The Mets with a 24-4 win in the opener. The Phillies bounce back to win 9-6 in the nightcap. and creep to within a game and a half of the Braves in the National League East as the Phillies win the second game 9-6.
Well, you got to feel good about the offense. There's Pat Russler, the hitting coach, talking with Rosario. The Phillies bounced back, a much-needed win, particularly with that loss in Atlanta. Atlanta Braves losing in the 9th inning to Colorado.
Mets with 46 runs in their last 3 games, but today the Phillies outscore them in the nightcap to get the split. The game summary presented by Jeep. Not a good outing for Steven Matz coming off the DL. Zach Eflin gets his 9th win. Dominguez comes in to secure the save. Rhys Hoskins with a 3-run homer to get the Phillies started, and they were never headed after that as Dominguez strikes out Bautista to end it.
He wasn't going to throw him a fastball. Another slider down in the dirt.
Dominguez puts the finishing touches on. We'll come back with more from Philly in just a moment.